Hello and welcome back to the group stage here as we figure out who's making it out of Group C. 3 teams are still alive, and 2 of those are fighting right now to keep pace with Fnatic in first. We don't know which 2 of these teams 2 of these 3 are going to make it, but LGD and Gen.G are in the draft right now.
I do. I've seen it in the crystal ball, Freak. I'm going to keep it a secret for, you know, it's for suspense purposes to keep building here. But let's get into it for LGD versus Gen.G, the rematch right before you on your screen. Let's take a look here. Getting right into Champion Select. Renekton first pick, but it is an LPL team, so has more viability than your run-of-the-mill.
Only LPL you're allowed to pick this champion. We'll see how well it does here. Of course, Gen.G beat LG the first time around, but that match was incredibly close. Dragon Soul is still to be claimed 40 minutes in. It went back and forth, but Gen.G did claim it. AP jungler, very common with topside. Even if Graves were up, you would probably still go Lillia here for Peanut. And now we get to see what xiye is going to pick.
And last time around, LGD also did first pick Renekton for Langx. And I like the adjustments that they've made, though. While they do keep the confidence pick there, they ban out the Lucian this time. They're blue side. They have a little bit more flexibility with them. Now they lock in double AP for themselves. Lillia works super well with Renekton top lane because you can push up, allow her to continue on with some of those invades. We probably will get one of those level 1s as well. Gen.G, so quick to answer, though. Immediate Volibear into the Renekton. Love the lane matchup as well as the Nidalee into Lillia.
Yeah.
Support focus on the hard engage. That's definitely something LG will need, because one of the big things that people always point out for Renekton is the fall off later into the game. And that fall off is because he has a difficult time getting to priority targets. You have only a single target stun. So if you are unable to get that single target stun on an enemy carry, then your usefulness in the team fight is far below a standard tank from the top side. But if you had something like a Leona, like a Nautilus, you get some easy hard engage onto that back line, those can shore up some of the weaknesses that are always talked about for this champion and why a lot of people don't like the early picks.
Right now you're seeing a couple of bans to support xiye. The Syndra is gone away. I'm curious if they care about something like a Galio instead. There isn't really a hard diver. I mean, Volibear's not too bad at it with the ultimate, but no, Zoe, you're going to go for the second most played by VDD throughout the year. His Azir seemingly has been nerfed enough that even all the big Azir players from before Worlds are mostly shying away from the pick. Some of that could be metagame being less mid lane carry focused, but that said, people in shying away may still pick it up.
All right, see if he goes for the classic.
All right, and that suddenly now means there's a lot of persistent damage. Senna does, honestly, decent amounts of damage overall, despite being more supportive, but Azir...
Yeah, talk really to Jackie Love.
Yeah, oh yeah, Jackie Love's like a 950 damage per minute game at Worlds so far. Jhin gonna be the answer, which we just saw in the previous game. That, of course, went the Senna way pretty reliably, and now Mark needs a support.
And again, the hard engage I'm talking about for LGD needs to come through to be able to push through the mid game here. Pantheon, I have absolutely loved this champion for supports. It is going to be really, really focused on early game for LGD, though, with the Renekton pick on the top side, Pantheon on the bottom side with Jhin. There's a lot of crowd control that you can use to set up kills, to set up CC chains, bring the Lillia off of the efficient clears that she can bring into those lanes to actually try and get kills.
Okay, and it means that we are very low engaged in the Gen.G side. It's so much of a kite back composition. Azir, Senna, in some ways Nidalee for the back line, and Tahm Kench to keep them safe, but there is not one good, reliable start a team fight tool. Nothing remotely close to even Swirl Seed Sleep, and obviously the Pantheon starting things off even better. So LGD have a lot more control over how the game takes place, but if Gen.G get a lane kingdom and they set up on objectives first, they have to come to you. 2
completely different directions here, Freak. Gen.G are going late. They are going defensive. They have the counter engage. They have the defensive properties of Tahm Kench trying to avoid scenarios, whereas LGD, they want to bring the fight to you, get those kills, pressure with Renekton, pressure with the CC combinations of Jhin and Pantheon. See if they start anything out with the level 1s. Nidalee and Lillia kind of facing off on the top side of the map by the Raptor camp. I didn't quite see the inventories. We'll have to see once the runes drop to see if there are sweepers left for them. Pretty standard runes across the board, though. No surprises. The only little caveat, sometimes Azir will go with a weaker scaling rune in favor of a better laning rune. I think lethal tempo, because of the wave control you can get by proccing it off the Orianna and then pushing the wave, is a really good choice. Plus the attack speed super useful for you later on to the game, which that's where Gen.G want to get to.
Of course. Now, one thing you said earlier, Kobe, is these teams are going in different directions. I think they're going in the same direction. They're both running towards Gen.G's base during every team fight.
Okay.
One's kiting back, one's diving in. You know, so there's a little bit of that, but regardless, as you said, no early invades. We've got a heavy leash here for Peanut towards the red buff, not just getting away, going towards the chickens and leashing that for extra life regen. Of course, doesn't need that much help considering he got a pretty heavy leash, 4 autos out of his Jhin down there, so he is optimizing for time instead of health, which I don't think is a problem, but it is a choice he's making to not touch the chickens early.
Interesting as well, double sweeper start for LGD, and honestly, I really like it with a Jhin Pantheon lane that relies on kill pressure. It brings up scenarios where you want to try and bluff a lot. And since he's got the early sweeper, he uses it right there coming through, and they have no early invade information on Peanut's whereabouts. It honestly changes your lane matchup a little bit because you are purposely denying this information.
Wow, he's going here. I mean, he's going to get level 2 in about 2 minions, right? Like that melee drops. Here's the available for the stun. He's got the red buff slow. That's a flash. Easy follow. Easy flash follow. Flash in for everything else. Watch out. Rascal's going to run out of health. You have to believe they get this kill. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. What a gank.
Oh my god, I feel so bad for Peanut. You just clipped that last 10 seconds, and you have the blooper reel of all time. He flashes forward, but your watch out heap moved you forward on Lillia, and so he overshoots it over the Volibear's head, then dies afterwards. Mark now.
They're going for a lot more. Can't find the stun on a Mark. Kramer going to trade back on a rule as best he can. Has 1 shot left. Not going to get to land it. And they trade blows back and forth. Now Clid, he wants to add insult to injury. Peanut can't get his own jungle.
Yeah, Clid's like, after that sort of play, you don't even deserve your own jungle, Peanuts. Clid comes to town, chases him out, and this is going to be a brutal dive attempt.
Danger, how can they outplay it? Doesn't go for the empowered stun, does nothing at all. Easy tower aggro dropped, and this game has gone from bad to worse, and it's still happening. Life rooted into battle here against Mark. They get some autos, need a couple more shots to knock him down. Pantheon will live, but it's time for Kramer to run away. These guys are keeping going. A few more shots out to go.
Holy moly, Freak. You better already start handing out your tilt proofs to Langx here. That happens in your lane, and you are freaking out. Okay, focus for LGD. You gotta stick to your game plan here. Peanut needs to reset. He's on the bottom side. You see him trying to scavenge. He knows that Clid already chased him out of the top quadrant of the map. He cannot return to this area, which is very unfortunate for Langx, as he's incredibly far behind on the Renekton now after those early shenanigans. But it honestly does have to turn into everybody looking to fend for themselves to try and recover from that early game deficit. Clid is going to have a field day. He knows he's got full priority. You see the extra wards they are bringing. This is part of the jungling we talked about early on, keeping up the pressure. Peanut, though, wants to punish with Mark.
And this time it's an easy 2v1. This time he's going to land the skill shot, and Peanut gets a kill back.
All right, now the honors are all going to Mark. Thanks for the roam, buddy. You're able to clean up the top side of the map. And that, honestly, is such a lifesaver for both Peanut and Langx. You know, the top side of the map here for LGD. It's still going to be a very difficult scenario, but Mark is able to find a perfect timing window to roam here on the Pantheon. Has an instant impact.
Peanut, I believe, sees Rascal's doing this and might get to go for the fight. Did burn Smite on the chickens, which means that's to be a steal. More difficult one, auto Q could do it. Easy pickup there, but now 1v2. Gonna find himself the attempt for a heal in a few seconds. Still stunned up. Watch out, Eep's going to land, but here comes Nidalee. Finds the heal, finds it to go right back in. Gets the heal from Rascal, and he finds the 2-on-2 kill. Now it's time for Peanut to run away yet again, then he will do so.
Uh-oh.
Last follow, no shockwave, gets the haste, Q auto, and it's gonna be 5 health remaining. And Xie's gotta watch out for the minions.
Oh, that was so close. Uses the W for the extra speed. Doesn't have any extra damage to finish off BDD after he moves the Q over to him. And BDD knows he can return to push the wave afterwards. So he gets the last laugh in that little trade there, xiye. Decent attempt, but definitely going to come up short there. Wish he had the extra juice.
This game is getting pretty doomed pretty quickly for LGD. It's a 2,000 gold difference at 6 minutes. That is rough, and that's going to take so much effort to come back from, as we get to see what happened in mid lane a second ago to start that entire trade out, and that's why the flash away and the flash follow came through.
Yeah, it was BDD that actually started that one out. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, this is the calm area of the map. Since Jhin has gone with the new tech where I actually kind of like it, you know, you start your boots and your bunch of health potions for extra speed for Jhin to be able to dodge out on some of the skill shots, the pass-through damage there, but mainly it's for the extra potions for the big sustain that you get for the lane. Meanwhile, Ruler able to farm up in time for the purchase of the tier, plus the extra longswords on his first back, and gets to head right back to lane.
I gotta say, Senna, Tahm, Kench in lane with no surprises. Everything is telegraphed and reasonably fair. Turret turns off. Speaking of unfair, he's got no help. Gets a heal. The damage still gonna come through. And they're gonna drop aggro in time. Gen.G find another kill top side. I was hoping to see more pressure, and we're gonna. Shockwave lands in a BDD. Not gonna do much damage though. Walks away and keeps health bar up.
Yeah, this is why there's gonna be so much focus on that early blooper reel from Peanut and the top side Freak. That was just the most devastating thing that can happen to your lane as a top laner. And, you know, you can see him right now. Langx is just trying to keep it together. He's only level 5 to a level 7 Volibear, so they can go for those dives, and he doesn't have the extra health to come out. But they've pulled off a swap here. They're trying to get him out of the lane. They sent him to the bottom side of the map, bringing up Ruler.
Okay, so I want to see if this can still be pressure for Rascal. If they can use him to get a lead, or if he's stuck in a 1v2, no longer farming against Kramer and Mark. I want to see how it plays out right now. Gen.G have sent Clid and left the mid lane. No fighting just yet. Tier stacking up for the Senna. Double long sword means it is going to be most likely a lethality opener. You can't use 2 long swords to build a Black Cleaver. Praise correct builds into this one, as the top lane turret's going to be under fire. It may lose plate.
Yep, that's part of the bonus of getting the early swap off, being the first ones to the play. They get to push the minion wave first. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, you can see that Rascal has found Langx once again. You're not getting away from the matchup, and it should be constant bullying. You know, he's gone grasp into the Conqueror of Renekton, so there is actually no way that Renekton ever wins a trade. You know, for the rest of this game, honestly, as Volibear's got such an early lead on the Trinity Force, you go in, your short trade for Volibear just always trumps the Renekton, because you don't get to stack up your Conqueror. Maybe if Langx randomly was able to find a bunch of kills somewhere else and get to a play of the Ruin King super quickly somehow, he would be able to have an answer, but Rascal can just charge up his grass proc, go in for the Sheen trade, and there's really not a lot that Langx gets to say about it. So meanwhile, Clid will spend his time top side to get that very important early Rift Veil. Love this move here where he can you know, guarantee themselves some extra turret plates and keep up the counter jungling.
Attempted right now. Easy smite for that one. Rascal wants to fight Langx, who again doesn't have much to do about this move. Run away. Double longsword not strong. Ult forces a flash. That is a gigantic cooldown difference. And even denies part of the wave. There's like 3 casters that got denied away from Renekton. The XP gap grows, the gold gap grows. It's going to look pretty good. It looks like turret plate number 3, 4, 5 can be under fire topside, almost dead to just the Herald itself.
All right, LGD, let's see what kind of miracle kind of recovery can we actually get up here, because top side of the map is a possibility. Kramer and Mark as Pantheon Jhin do have plenty of C to lock people down, but that's where Clid is going. It's just such a smart move from Clid. He knows that there's no way that Rascal actually gets taken advantage of on the bottom side of the map, so he uses the Rift Veil there.
That's the play. Jungle gank comes in. Mark is there for a little bit of peer pressure, a little bit of support. I'm here just in case. He's going to share a turret plate. You know, hey, I ganked for you. I want this 80 gold.
Yep, honestly, there we go. LGD make the play in the mid lane. They do get the kill on the BDD. No flash used by BDD to try and escape it there either. So xiye and Peanut do find some purchase for themselves.
Double ulti for that one, but you're going to take those when you can. LGD able to get the extra compensation of the Mountain Drake since everyone moved around the way it did. All the pressure was topside for Gen.G. Mid gank came through as a good counterpunch. Right cross map plays. If they strike top, you strike somewhere else. Because, hey, a 3v1 is unlosable, as we have seen so many times, and they knock down a kill. They keep the gold within 2,000. The gold lead, by the way, has not moved about 4 minutes.
Here's another look at it. Shockwave did hit there for xiye. BDD was trying to trade back, thinking that he could have a 1v1. But once Peanut flashed in, really liked the secure there actually for LGD, and they're making another play.
Here comes the root in place. The flash not going to be enough. Life puts on the shield. It's going to be able to chase him down, though. Shield's not going to be in time, but it is a trade kill onto Mark. A couple of snipes come through. A little bit of damage done, but they will farm into the turret.
Langx making some usefulness out of a bad situation. He can't lane versus Rascal, so he's going to lend his crowd control to the rest of the team, waiting with them in the brush. Honestly, LGD, it is a big hill to climb to get back out of this, but they are making the necessary steps, and you have to commend them for another big counterplay setup, this time on bottom side of the map, waiting in that brush and finding the kill onto Life.
Perhaps going to do more to cement his lead, some more counter jungling, take away the Cromp, get it for yourself. Adds 4 CS, adds about 100 gold, not too bad there. We still sit 2,500. Gen.G are growing the lead a little bit. You can see 3 leaders here. Rascal, Ruler, and Clid for BDD. Not getting any attention, except from the opposing team. Yeah, he's down on gold a bit, but that's going to be fine. As long as you can win through top, you're going to be okay in this game.
All right, I think they actually need to get the deep wards replaced in that blue quadrant of the jungle too, and that's probably what Clid's priority is at the moment, because you need to isolate your biggest advantage, Rascal versus Langx, and try and pry this matchup into a bigger advantage for yourself. And Rascal actually just going to hard push the wave instead, and give some minions back to Langx.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's going to be way too hard to push top lane tier 2, and outer turrets you'd rather siege with a Senna. It's just easier to auto-attack from 625 range than it is in melee with the Volibear, so Rascal's going to have to kind of be a bit inventive, I suppose, in mid-game with how he's going to push his lead. It's, yeah, shove and then threaten mid, shove, threaten mid. Okay, Triforce Recall comes in, like now's the time to power fight, right? Super early Triforce, who's he gonna kill?
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, if you have a big minion wave pushing towards you, you can try and just bring it back to your area of the map with, if you have up to 4 range minions, then you can keep it towards your turret with the extra damage that they will do, and then you force Langx to make those plays, right? You force him to go scavenge for other areas to try and make plays. To his credit, though, he did make that play with Kramer, with Mark, without the cost of losing out any extra. So LGD have been pretty proactive with their other players, not giving up after the early disaster that happened.
All right, down goes the wave. Going to be pushing towards Mark. Some damage here. Grabs the soul, look for a javelin. Not going to land that, but they'll get more damage out of the Senna. Puts him at about 60%, and the wave is cleared as well as it could be for Kramer, but they are invading in for ward control. They're cutting out to make sure, hey, no one's here for defense. We've got a jungler, 3vx. Let's push in. We see Renekton. We see Orianna. We're not outnumbered. Let's take the ward control. They're fighting for it yet again as the wards come back and forth and back and forth. Swirl Seed is dodged, and Gen.G now own the road to the turret.
Here comes the big bear, though. Rascal's headed down from the top side. That's a big chunk of this.
Ooh, yep. Puts on the shield in time, wouldn't take damage even if he didn't dodge it, and the turret is getting lower and lower in health, though, as the plates drop. It's, of course, very, very frail, and in about a wave, Gen.G will knock in the second turret of the game.
All right, so looking for Gen.G, they want to create more areas where they can take advantage. Okay, dive.
Gonna flash dodge. Here comes the rest. Flash away for xiye. Shoves him backwards. And a re-flash in. He wants the kill, and Langx was 0-3, but still killed BDD. Looking for round 2, though. Rascal shows up on the board. 2-1 team fight so far, but Gen.G have to run away. Rascal is low, and a shutdown comes through for Mark, and Life is about to lose his. Snipe from downtown. Kramer gets another.
Kramer getting the money is big for LGD. They do get some extra counter kills here out of Gen.G, who are giving up extra pressure. Bottom side, this was a lot because Ruler stayed down there, pushed the extra wave, pushed on the turret, and Gen.G are opening up the map, which is according to game plan. You're trying to take away the safety nets that LGD have. But once again, here's another look at what happened on the bottom side. We got to see a little peek of this as Peanut came, you know, with Ignite on him with 50 health left, burning through while Langx was getting the kill. And Gen.G did get one for themselves, but big chase down on the outside. Nice spear there from Mark. He actually got the shutdown, so that was less than ideal. Volibear was the one with the big lead with the big shutdown. But he is a support that can build some damage, so, you know, Pantheon funding some more lethality there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a huge fan of anyone who can get the Umbral Glaive on early game and just start winning the vision game outright. His vision score will skyrocket this game. The item is incredible. You one-shot in Viz wards, you two-shot the control ones. It's going to be wonderful stuff. Clid, though, able to get back on the map. Bot lane wasn't exactly won by Gen.G, but now that they've got some control around the map, he's going to go ahead and grab a Drake for himself. LGD gets the second, less important. You know, the ugly sister, I would say, of the Rift Heralds. It just is what it is, you know? You don't get plates out of this one.
All right, well, Rascal now surrounded by 4 members of LGD. Reinforcements on the way here. Life going to give him an escape for himself. Devour would be at the ready. Meanwhile, again, bottom side, you see Ruler on the Senna. Solo pushing bottom side. Senna doesn't push the waves very quickly at all. But since Gen.G have gone with the, I think, better choice of not giving trades to LGD, since Gen.G are the leaders, they're the ones with the extra advantage, you don't need to give 50-50 trades. You don't have to handshake with this team. And they try and get the answer there.
Well, lane turret is going to fall, and LGD going to tie the turret score to this one, and the game is back to 1,500 gold difference. LGD fighting back from a deficit and clawing their way closer and closer into this game. Rascal's domination from early game has slowed down a little bit. Yes, the CS difference is 30, but Langx got himself involved in a couple of kills on a tower dive not long ago from that 2,000 gold deficit individually. So far, it's okay for LGD. Now mid is under fire. Didn't want to get a bit more done. Clid nearly found out. Clid could have saved him. Not going to be a huge problem. Kramer forced back. Knocks down what of the wave he can. Ruler not even going to step up to auto the turret. Yeah,
I mean, the tilt-proof mentality, yeah, it's kind of a meme, but he's showing how important it is. LGD's chances still very much alive as they're getting extra damage on the bottom side as well. Rift Herald, as you said, starts to get the comeback rolling here for LGD. And now you start to look at the deep wards. Eyeballs are on Mark because he's got the safety of an Umbral Glaive. Double control wards, fully stacked up support item here with wards. So Mark is looking for deep wards to get possible teleport flanks for Langx. We return to the Renekton conundrum of mid-game engage options. If you can get him teleport wards to work off of, Langx can work some magic. He's definitely done it before. There's a reason that they first pick Renekton for him multiple games. They're looking for those flanks. You get the Pantheon over the top, Renekton teleport from the back, and LGD could still easily get this one, setting themselves up for big shockwaves from xiye.
700 right now, the gold difference. Getting closer and closer in this game. LGD working back. The tilt-proof mentality, the lead in mid lane, 1-0-3 on xiye, not getting, or he's getting pretty close now to his Banshee's Veil, and we're gonna get second item pretty soon on Kramer as well, so that's going nicely. Youmu's in for Ruler, going for probably rapid fire third. Next strike spawns in 2 minutes, and that's gonna be the next big objective. I feel like it's way more likely to be contested than a Baron. Neither team, actually I should say the Azir team actually has pretty good Baron damage. You have an Azir on a full Nashor's Tooth. That's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, for sure they do. I think both teams will even have decent damage. Peanut, once he gets the Leandries completed, you get a nice burn there. So we shall see. I don't think there's going to be any sort of crazy sneaks or anything in this game. There should be plenty of vision as the game has evened out. And you can even see by the map right now, LGD's positioning pretty good. They've even got a fairly good shallow ward there up towards the ramp. As Mark has been really on the ball here.
Yeah.
This is a story of why you actually need to put so much emphasis on this mentality control here from LGD, dealing with that early disaster.
This is impressive stuff overall. I mean, their opening of Worlds in the play-ins was a disaster, to be clear. 1-3 in the play-in group stage. They had a tie-break V3 to make it in, and then Okay, they double 3-0. They're playing best of fives to make it to the group stage. And they show up in the group stage. One that people said, well, any team can get first, any team can get last. Their opener was a loss to Gen.G, and it didn't look very pretty. And then we go into week 2, and their opening to Gen.G is horrible. Peanut ints himself out of the turret, gives Rascal a red buff, and it's a 3-0 gold lead in the first 8 minutes, but they have brought it back within 500 now. They've completely brought it back here. They are clearly in a good enough spot to win this game. You talked about scaling, of course, earlier on. That probably still lies with Gen.G, but the mid game is being played better by LGD.
Yeah, and I would turn the scrutiny towards Gen.G because we mentioned both sides of the opportunities that you have to try and further punish and push your lead. When you have Volibear Renekton matchup that far ahead, you can either send the Volibear to go dive towers because your ultimate is perfectly built for it, and you get your other side of the map ahead as well, or you try and freeze in the long lane and force the 1v1 for Langx, force them to lose out on further resources. But LGD circumvented that plan very nicely, and now they're looking for the long-range engage. Lillia sleep possibilities are here. Peanut keeps throwing out these swirl seeds. He finds Ruler again. Very high-value ones that are hitting here, considering his Liandry's is now completed for the Dragon fight.
And here we go. The Dragon is alive. Split 1-1 so far. Will be a Cloud Soul game eventually, maybe in 10 minutes or so. He's being attacked. Gen.G pops on the Shroud. Nice by Ruler. Can't find the way in. Langx looking for the flank. And they're going to find the route on a BDD. Do they engage? They put the Jhin ult in, but not going to find too much there. Shields come in, not a problem. Smite fight coming in soon. Big Sleep going to come across there as well. They get the stun into Clid. They burn the stopwatch. Easy pickup and an easy kill. Langx doing it from a 0-3 Renekton. He is carrying the team fights. He is carrying the dives. One goes back on the mark, though, and now Rascal forced to run away. BDD pops his stopwatch. Life is gone. Kramer looking for the next one. Gonna get away, but they are on the wrong side of the map. Rascal wants to find this fight in the 1v2. Not gonna have an easy time there.
Revenge.
Gonna find his revenge, as you say. They get the Drake. They get the team fight as well. LGD fighting back.
Langx is the top laner I want in every single game, freak. You can criticize Gen.G for not marking him. You can criticize Gen.G for not warding their flanks here on the Dragon that they started up, not looking behind. But I would say full credit over here to Langx. He was so patient in his flank, watching, waiting for the perfect opportunity to flash in. He does not rush this. He waits for the Dragon to get low. Off screen right there. He's waiting for Clid right next to the wall. Then, as the Dragon gets low, flashes in for the stun, for the execution. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and he's also able to get the counter kill onto Volibear. Now we see Kramer and xiye, how they dealt with the other 3 members of Gen.G, kiting away. Kramer with the flash, with the dodge on the ultimate to survive a bit longer. They are, of course, in the opposite side of the map, so not a lot of outs that they possibly have to themselves for an escape. But honestly, big story was Peanut surviving barely, just out of range of Rascal, and then Langx getting his long-deserved kill.
So, looks agility, giving her that extra 20% crit chance on the soul marks as Rapid Fire Cannon comes through and completes the item overall. So, stacking up on that one so far. I do like the Youmu's early, though. Lethality is a great stat. There's no real armor stacks in LGD. Great early item. Now we get to see what the next part of this fight is going to be. BDD, he's burned the Q, so he can't dodge as far. This turret's going to be 2 hours away from death, and xiye's going to make sure he just knocks the turret down with the minion wave. Don't take any unnecessary damage. Xiye's with 2 major items. There's a scoop back, though, and it's a one-shot on a Kramer. Mark going to be an easy one, but wait! That shockwave buys a lot of time. Is there going to be a re-engage, though? There is not. The turret will fall. 2 kills to 0 off a great play out of BDD.
And life saves the life of BDD. Rascal looking to come take some.
Can't find the stun. Will find a lot of damage on xiye, who cannot find his way out. Suddenly 3 kills unanswered. Come through for Gen.G, and Baron is on the table.
Gen.G alive. They have no reason not to rush towards this Baron. Ruler gonna give Peanut a little taste here. If you get any closer, he's going down. That should be secured Baron here for Gen.G, considering there's no teleport on Langx. No crazy movement for anybody to get back there for a steal. Gen.G, wake back up. They don't want to let this comeback complete.
Well, You gotta say, a lot of big moments in this game. Langx's flank flash in the Dragon Pit was exciting. BDD right there, probably the single biggest moment of that game. I want to see this replay, single-handedly giving this lead.
Huge sweep here onto both members of the bottom lane, and look at that, Kramer, he's dead before he hits the ground. The life is there for the Devour on BDD, saves him after the heroics, and allows Kramer as well to respawn.
And now it's time for the Baron power play, right? It's how much can Gen.G get? This game has been back and forth. It was last time those two fought. Honestly, this is going to be the fight. Now, Gen.G with the Red Bull Baron, what can they get? 1,500 gold is what you get just from killing Baron itself, by the way. So this so far is negative marks in the top right scoreboard. You got to get some actual turret pressure, some more setup on objectives. The Drake should be a freebie, which should tie up the score 2-2. What can Gen.G get?
Definitely developed into an incredibly interesting game here, as top side should be the target. Rascal going to be under attack very quickly, so LGD look like they're going to give up on that bottom side priority and go 4v1.
Langx looking for the 4v1. Rascal trying to get away. They're going to find a couple of
Still
stuns.
has ult too.
He is on the way out. Going to ult, but he can't get over the wall. Had to dodge away from the stun. Couldn't get more clearance, but he's still running. Now Kramer trying to set it up. It's a 5v1 on a Rascal. Botlane's still under fire. Finds himself the root. This should be the kill, and he will finally go down. Shut down. Crucially goes to xiye. But what do they lose? Bot lane tier 2 and inhibitor turret both drop.
Raid boss down, but the pushing power of Baron on the bottom side allows Gen.G big answers. Bottom side is open. Inhibitor down as well. They finish the job.
Is there going to be a re-engage? Because Rascal's dead for 30 seconds. Yes, teleport is up, but Drake is on the map. Gen.G cannot shop with all the gold they earned from those turrets. Will LGD try to contest the Drake? And if they do, you see Gen.G camping on wards. They say, nah, never mind, let's just go for it. But this now gave up some crucial seconds. They're delaying, I guess, now until Rascal shows back up so they can fight a real 5-on-5.
Yeah, his teleport is ready here for a Rascal, so Gen.G are laying the trap, and they're kind of allowing LGD, if they were going to make that mistake, to walk through their own red quadrant, which is now under the control of Gen.G with all the time spent extra wards that they've had in the last second. Here goes Ruler. Can he land it?
Kramer, he's trying to get away. Javelin won't land, but they find some slows out of Ruler. A little bit more, no flashes aggressively. They're not going to get anything more done, but mid is still under fire. A flicking Azir turret for safety. Dive in makes it easy. Mid lane inhibitor turret is now gone, and they are still pushing in for this. That's the kind of play I wanted to see out of this Baron. They got 2 inhibitors, they got 4 turrets, and Gen.G are well in the driver's seat.
Yep, right back on track for them. They had a decent lull there in the middle with LGD setting up very nice counterplay, but we're looking at Ruler once again. There's a reason this guy is the star of the team. With the Senna looking very, very powerful, even keeping the extra control wards here for the team. After this Baron, they can reset. That is 2 inhibitors down, so it makes it very easy. Even though normally you're looking up at that Dragon timer thinking there will be a lull coming up to it, with double inhibitors secured, with that critical follow-up Baron play, Freak, that you like so much.
Yep.
Gen.G have opened the window to keep the pressure up. They can just go topside. Super minions will stream in during mid lane and on the bottom side of the map. So BDD pushing with confidence.
A quick call out I want to give is to items. It's not Worlds without talking about items apparently in 2020. Infinity Edge is garbage on Senna. I know Jackie Love builds it, I know Ruler build it, and they are the best AD carries in the world. The item is about 1/3 as good on Senna as any other marksman. Just build Armor Pen or something. There are better stats than Infinity Edge's crit. The math does not lie. This item is trash. Moving on, though, they're going to win almost certainly regardless. 5,300 gold lead, waiting to go for more sieging with 2 inhibs down. LGD can barely leave their base.
And again, with the extra 6-man of the super minions coming in, Gen.G can now just slowly whittle away at the last remaining inhibitor turret. Ruler using the extra range here that he's acquired for Senna nicely, getting that poke damage down. Peanut constantly having to dodge away from spears from these extra skill shots. The range advantage from Nidalee and Senna now fully functional 30 minutes in.
He is Gave his spit back, Ruler gonna stay fine, and Mark couldn't quite find his way in, but did burn the Ignite, did burn his Flash, so now a Summonerless Pantheon make it harder to make it in, but now BDD under fire, goes on a half HP, but he can be healed back up. Ruler still feeling safe, gonna have to take a long way back around the wall, but still trying to siege through the mid lane to get the team grouped up and go for the big play to close out the game. They are not content to wait for Baron. They want to win here, so mid is still the point of pressure. Rascal on the bottom side. His ult can turn off both Nexus turrets, and they can go for a winner pretty quickly here. Will they do it? Still sieging defensively. No one's going for the turrets just yet. Top lane can be pushed right back in, and BDD can start dealing the damage. No one around to stop him just yet. Turrets on a half HP. The flash in. Peanut gotta find the double sleep. And what's the re-engage? A root in, and from downtown, Kramer trying to bomb like it's at the Apollo, and he finds the first one. It's time now for xiye to get back, but a 1-for-0. Launching is there. Life spits one out, but Ruler is still gonna fall, and it's time for a new king. It's time to knock down Life. They will get one trade back from Rascal. But inside their base, LGD get 4-1.
20 seconds left on the Baron, and the death timers for Gen.G will be long enough, so LGD actually choose their timing very carefully there, waiting until the last second, waiting for a closer spawn, then going for the team fight victory. That decision right there, the timing of it, really does mean a lot, as Gen.G were knocking on the door, but until they actually knock over the other inhibitor, it didn't really matter. And so the patience from LGD before they finally pull that engage was critical here. There are so few options left open, but Peanut found it. Flashing in, finding the sleep, teleport follow-up from Langx. What a good job getting through such a narrow comeback possibility here from LGD, capitalizing on the teamfight victory with Baron.
BDD looking for any stragglers, will not find one. The timing is close enough, but he couldn't find his way in and maybe catch Langx with reinforcements. I gotta point out that Renekton now has higher kill participation and more XP than Rascal. 0-3-1 Renekton to a 3-0-1 Volibear, and Langx has had more effect on this game from that point on.
Actually, so well played from Langx, considering the early start to this game. But it has gotten so intense, Freak, here. Back to the current situation, we're basically split. And LGD, I can't re-emphasize enough how imperative it was that they got the timing right on their re-engage, because if you win that team fight instantly as Gen.G came into your base, you pulled that off 30 seconds beforehand, you wouldn't have been able to capitalize with a Baron after your team fight victory. So intelligent choice there by LG to get them right back into it, bring us to this critical dragon.
Will not find any more pokes just yet. The root comes through. He's at half, and now it's going to be the easy shot for Azir. No one's going to stop. They're going for mid lane instead. It's a trade. It's a cross-map play to go for a couple of turrets. LGD will claim mid lane tier 2 easily. Extra cloud trick not going to matter, but there's a big chunk of damage. Ruler nearly drops. So much damage coming through. xiye finds a lot there with a shockwave from the Fog of War. And suddenly, mid lane is under even more fire. The inhibitor is laid bare. Mark coming back in, Langx with the squad. Not gonna find that swirl seed, but LGD are going for the Nexus turrets. Gen.G must defend now. LGD get turret number 1. In goes Rascal. Will they fight or will they go for the base? The first turret's gonna fall. They can't find the scoop. Will it be enough for the kills? Yes, it will. LGD are crushed off the map. They get structures, but not a single champion remains.
Freak! They just crushed them on the Nexus like they were bugs. LGD pushing towards the Nexus with the Baron buff. They don't have enough to finish it off with any sort of timing there, and Gen.G sweep it right back. I thought for sure they were going to turn around at the end, but Gen.G arrive in time. They actually have the most comical ending to this game. I cannot believe it. What a delivery from start to finish.
Late game demolition versus get every Nexus. Gen.G looking to close it out here. Turret 1 will fall, and let them show you how to do it. They'll get the Nexus turrets. The Nexus itself still under fire. Rascal's got the Triforce. It deals tons of damage, and the Nexus falls for Gen.G.
Oh, hell yeah. That's what I come to Worlds for, Freak. Nexus to Nexus drives from both teams. LGD with that Baron. I really loved the push up the middle to get the inhibitor, But then you have to have the plan for what you do once you are pinned inside the base. And committing up to the double Nexus turret rush for themselves so heavily. Gen.G arriving in time, they're able to scrape them off the Nexus, and they're able to run it back in time as well.
Okay, this is exciting. Of course, we can still have LGD top the group with help, but we now have a tie at first. Again, 3-1 for Gen.G, 3-1 for Fnatic. They will play again today. Fnatic won last time around. They may well be poised to be the favorites of the group, but Gen.G want to challenge that. And the LCK resurgence has definitely been a story so far at Worlds. We already saw Damwon top their group. Gen.G could be the second LCK team to do so, and they have control of the destiny to make that happen.
Whew, and that was a wild ride too. Yeah. Control is definitely something that is fleeting in this group, at least.
Yeah.
Really like the play though that came out in the very end as Gen.G were able to run it all the way back. Got a little bit worried as the spawn timers were coming up. Super exciting push back and forth from both teams. Honestly, considering how that game opened up, they had a lot more fight here from LGD. Regardless of the outcome, I still give my top honors for any player in that game to Langx. You did it, buddy. Till proof it was an amazing comeback, even though they didn't get the victory.
Didn't get the victory, but they can still fight for it. Of course, they can still make it out of this group as well. They've got fights to have. So let's check out Gen.G's Mercedes drive to victory, the top lane fight that gave them the Baron.
All right, let's relive this one. BDD comes in with the big sweep. This was at the moment where LGD were making a lot of their comebacks come through. Life is there. He devours BDD, so he doesn't go down after making the hero play. It's not over either because Rascal there on the Volibear comes up. He picks up another kill for themselves, and he focuses right on xiye, able to get the smite down. They finish off the Orianna. Without that, there's no more threat left on the enemy team, and that was what led to the Baron pickup.
Yeah, a wild game, absolutely. I mean, there are probably 4 or 5 like game-deciding moments, and then it would just come back the other way, and then someone else would get a game-deciding moment, and then it would go back and forth over and over.
So are they really game-deciding moments?
In other games, they would be, is the thing. The level, the 3-0 Volibear would have been a game-deciding moment, and yet Langx made the big play, and then he assassinates the entire Gen.G team.
I'm undecided.
Right, they're back. It's a game-deciding moment, and then back and forth again. BD had the scoop that we just saw. A great game, and I'm so glad there are more to play in this matchup. We're going to toss to a break. When we come back, though, we're going to have more exciting games and a breakdown of how that one went. The World's Anthem Takeover is on Spotify, so head over to League of Legends official playlist. You can stream Takeover and watch the full behind-the-scenes video on the making of the Takeover music video. That's available only on Spotify. We will hear more about LGD versus Gen.G after the break, so be sure to stick around.
Hey Mercedes, legends run wild, each one unique, with astonishing power. Unstoppable master warriors, ready to compete. Seeking glory. We live it, we breathe it. We have each other's back. Together, we become legends, icons of a new generation.
No one is promised tomorrow.
Playtime's over. They're mine now. Fear the assassin with no master.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you play far reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world's calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. They're written down in eternity, but you'll never see the price it costs. The scars collected all their lives. When everything's lost, they pick up their hearts and avenge defeat. Before it all starts, they suffer through harm just to touch a dream. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world's calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. When the world is calling out your name, begging you to fight. Pick yourself up.
Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Zone for a closer look at LGD versus Gen.G. Well, we promised you at the top of the day that this was going to be a crazy group with interesting games, and that is understating it. Now, my man Yamato said in the break that he had the perfect way to describe that game. The floor is yours.
Now you put a lot of pressure on me,
Yeah.
but the way I would describe it is, has anyone ever had a laptop where the battery is really bad and you have to really plug it in, the power cord, but then sometimes a position where it just dies? That's kind of how I felt about this game, because it was like moments of brilliance, your lovely laptop is working, and then the cable goes out, it's like, oh no, all my progress is gone. That's how I felt about this game.
Okay, that did work.
In this metaphor, Gen.G are your potentially
My lovely laptop.
lovely laptop, bad battery. The cord here in this case, LGD Gaming. Where are they going to go? Are they going to plug in like they're supposed to, or are they just going to randomly come out and change the entire
And all
game?
I can gather from the reactions of the LPL experts on Twitter is this is classic LGD. Like,
Yeah.
this happens all the time. And actually, they often get wins off the back of crazy plays like this, but it wasn't to be.
I think the thing that you have to recognize, and we recognize this a bit domestically in the LEC with G2 as well, but when teams want to throw wild punches or want to drag you down, you know, wrestle in the mud, you just have to go with them. You don't really have a choice. And so anytime LGD are playing this way, no matter what Gen.G want to do, it's not going to look clean because they have to respond to the punches that LGD are throwing.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's look at the draft, Yamato. A kind of a different look, I think. They went against what we said about Gen.G at the top of the day. I believe the win conditions you guys said, play towards your bottom lane, BDD to bot, and make that happen. But it was a lot about Rascal in this game.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to this Nidalee pick. Clid is a great Nidalee, but the moment you lock in Nidalee, Set is banned, Lucian is out, you kind of force yourself into a position where you're going to pick that Volibear into Renekton. It's all about that Nidalee pick. It shapes your draft around it. And on paper, the draft looks fine because they have the Volibear Nidalee synergy, but in terms of what we expect from Gen.G, it looks very, very different. Barring in this game, Rascal had a good performance together in that 2v2 top lane, and as Freak said in the cast, after all those things happened, I kind of felt like the game was over, but in the end it kind of wasn't. It was just a wild look for Gen.G.
Yeah, and this is one of the moments where specifically the game felt like it was over, where so many resources were burned topside. And it makes a lot of sense that LGD want to play around topside. They have the Renekton for the setup, and historically, Rascal has not always been the strongest point for this team. But that said, if anyone's ever going to bite off more than they can chew, it is certainly Peanut in the jungle. That was dramatic.
Lillia.
Oh my God.
poor Lillia.
The mustache, Jesus. And then the dive to follow it up. Renekton is a sad crocodile. The man was 9 CS here.
Yeah.
And then the continuation. Really nice W here on Renekton to line up for the second W to heal him up. There's no healing reduction. And then boom, there goes the first heal. And then there's no damage from Lillia. She's just trying to like pet him, but it doesn't really kill him.
Well, of course, that turnaround in the top lane on the first gank notwithstanding, we are starting to see a little bit more appreciation for what Volibear can bring, especially in things like this, where you're getting dove or when you have to out 1v1 someone.
Yeah, I think this matchup is just very much can go either way, and whoever gets any kind of early advantage is really set up for success, because level 6 is huge for both these champions. And in the case of Volibear, while on paper it's not stronger than what Renekton can bring to the table with Dominus, when you're specifically trying to set up dives on the tower against an underleveled opponent, that's like the perfect, ideal situation for Volibear, and Gen.G made good on that. They made it work.
Yeah, and just to add to how that matchup works, like Renekton needs to stack his rage to be able to trade with Volibear, and Volibear needs to stack his passive. So the nature is whoever is allowed through the sheer force of jungle presence is allowed to hit the wave, is going to win it out, and Volibear just has an easier time to achieve that.
Fast forwarding then to kind of everything that happened in the mid game, all of a sudden LGD win a team fight when they're pushed into their own base and then try and cut Gen.G off and go for the finish. Okay, so one, do you agree with trying to go for the finish? And two, did something go wrong in the execution?
So I actually love running down mid lane as a response to them taking that objective. It's just how far they ran down mid lane that I start to draw issue with. Because at some point, maybe the call is, let's turn, let's fight here. Let's take one last shot in a big fight. Instead, the call is, no, we lose the fight. Let's just race the Nexus. Like, we're trapped here. We have to go with this. So I think
What's the alternative?
I mean, the second that they take mid lane tower, they can walk up, they can try to force a fight in the jungle, or they can try to get out, depending on how determined Gen.G are to chase. But I don't think they had to bet it all right there. I think they could have gone for 1 or 2 turrets and settled for a smaller advantage.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, the moment that situation was playing out, my Azir bone was like, oh my goodness, this is the dream situation for him. But to summarize the game, I felt like both games that Gen.G played against LGD, we saw a Gen.G that I don't recognize, and I was in the LCK. Very strange that LGD managed to pull them down there, and I think in a scenario where LGD maybe scaled better within their draft, maybe they could have taken that game away.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's always shocking to me to see how quickly like a team that we look at as very controlled and cool-headed. That was the big strength of Gen.G. In their series versus DRX, the second they got a lead, it was like systematic. It was surgical the way they closed out these games. But today, they got a lead and then, well, they threw it away, they got it back, they threw it away again, they got it back. At the end of the day, LGD threw harder, and Gen.G were definitely ahead for the entirety of that game, but it felt like a close game when it absolutely should not have.
And it was a very entertaining one. That's always the case when teams make wrong decisions. Usually it's kind of fun to watch, and this group is delivering so far, especially in the second one in terms of implications. Gen.G is up versus TSM next, and if they win that game versus TSM, Gen.G would be guaranteed at least a tiebreaker game for a spot in quarters. And if Fnatic beat LGD, both Fnatic and Gen.G would then be through, but we will clear that out when we get to that next game and past that next game, because it gets a bit complicated with possible tiebreakers. Hey, the group's delivering so far. I mean, I got flashbacks of an Elise not getting an auto attack off on a Nexus when LGD ran down the mid lane. That was also an LPL team, but they won that then. So this is what we like to see at Worlds, though, Yamato.
Yeah, for sure. Just you know, the fact that 2 games are played and everything is still wide open. Like, even all the way to the end when Gen.G and TSM, I mean, Gen.G and Fnatic are going to play each other. That might be for the first place, and that means so much in this tournament.
I'm nervous for Fnatic, if I'm honest. We were talking a little bit backstage. Like, I still have full faith that they're going to go through, but at the end of the day, that LGD matchup is going to be important, and else LGDs just start throwing games left and right? Because Gen.G got pulled into the dirt, but Fnatic like the dirt. They want to be down. They want to be fighting dirty. They want to be there, and that's what scares me. It worries me a little bit. They've been clean so far. They've been controlled so far. If they can keep it together, I think they'll be fine, but that's not necessarily their strong suit.
So much left to be decided today, and we'll see if Gen.G, again after the break, can pick up another win as they face TSM.
Gen.G are just taking everything they can in a heartbeat. TSM now find themselves in a 0-3 situation and a massive uphill battle to climb if they still want to get out of this group.